Hey, folks. So we have a surprise for you today. Ariel and I are in the same place. So we just got back from a hike in beautiful Ojai. We're here for a couple days doing some market research and strategy sessions together. And we're so excited to see you all live in the same space.
I know. Well, we're excited to be in person.
Yes, we are.
It's fun.
It is fun.
Yeah.
What are our plans after this LinkedIn Live? Strategize by the pool.
Yes. That's what we're doing.
Multitasking.
Mm-hmm.
Hang by the pool and strategize. I heard something this last week. I was talking with a senior executive at ADP, and she was talking about ambition and talking about moving really quickly, and how many times with wellness initiatives, it's like, slow down a little bit. She's like, I don't want to slow down. I'm a mom. I have ambition. I have all of these things I want to do.
Yeah.
And so we talked about this concept. Instead of slowing down, we talked about this concept of being able to put cruise control on for a moment. So you can look out your window, you can see the scenery. It's a moment of putting on that cruise control so that you're still going the same speed, but you're able to look out the window. You're able to kind of take a moment, take it all in, and you're not doing everything at once.
Yeah.
And I thought that was a really nice analogy for wellness and how you can kind of incorporate it. And it doesn't have to be, for some people, yes, slowing down is what they want. But for other people, it's not. And I loved that.
I think that's a really good analogy. I can relate to her personally because I don't like slowing down at all. Yeah. And there are things in life that force you to slow down and make you slow down, but you have to localize to that.
Yeah.
Because I'm that person too. Yeah. So whichever bucket you fall into, it's okay. Yeah. But it is also important to take those moments of rest or just a break or whatever it is. You need to pause. You need to listen and honor that. But it doesn't mean you have to stop completely. It just
that's like stopping for gas. Or stopping to charge your car if you don't do gas, right? It's like you still need to stop and replenish and fuel your body, and whether that's emotional or mental or physical.
Yeah. Because the other side of that is burning out completely, which you and I know too well.
Yes.
But yeah, I love that.
Yeah, it was a good analogy. I really liked it.
What else were you going to kick us off with today?
So I would love to have, if there's folks here, share if you have any wins or anything that you want to celebrate this week. Let us know in the chat. I think my win that I want to share is just the fact that we're here together, because this has been a long time coming for us to kind of get together and start doing some proactive strategy sessions. And I do have to say, my other win from today, from this week, is it was a weird week, right? We had the 4th of July. There were kids, my kids were out of school on Monday and Tuesday. So I didn't get all of my workouts in that I wanted to get in.
Oh, yeah.
And when you're not on that routine, we were talking about this yesterday, when you're not in that routine, your motivation kind of, at least for me, my motivation was kind of like, meh. I don't really want to go work out. And you were like, well, you don't need motivation to take action.
No.
And I thought that was such a cool concept. So I feel like my other win today that I want to share, and I know we're going to dive into that a little bit more, but my other win is that I did not want to work out this morning.
She didn't.
Why don't we walk to brunch? That's a workout, right? Excuses. I didn't mean to. It wasn't like a conscious, like, I don't want to do this. It was like, what's another way we can increase movement and also a mimosa? But then you got me on a hike and it was beautiful, and we picked avocados and missed the rattlesnakes.
She was very subtly just trying to take the easier way, and that's not bad, but having me around, my personality is the complete opposite.
Yep.
And yes, I was trying to find us a yoga class and the times didn't work out. And so, I had to find something else for us to do. Mm-hmm. And I basically said, no, we're going on a hike. We're going to be in nature. It's going to be great.
And it was. And it really was.
And she found the avocado trees. We got avocados.
4 avocados.
For free. Shh, don't tell anyone.
There were no signs.
There were no signs. There was no fence. There was no trespassing sign. So I think we're good.
think they were just on the trail.
They were on the trail. Yeah. I'm really excited to eat those avocados.
I am too.
But yeah, she was trying to get out of it.
I was.
And how do you feel now about it?
I felt great. When we were probably 5 minutes into the hike up, I was like, oh, it's hot. And this is hard. It's hot. I'm hot. It's hot here.
It's like 80 degrees, folks.
I live on the coast where it's like always foggy. And so I'm always cold, right? Steven, hi, it's nice to see
Steven.
you. But it was probably 5 minutes in. And then once the blood started getting pumping, it was pumping, whatever.
Yeah.
I was like, okay, this feels good. My body feels good that it's moving. And then I think the point where I was like, I could keep going. Like, let's keep going. And Ariel was like, we have a LinkedIn Live to go get to. We got all the way up to like this beautiful view.
Yeah.
We actually have a picture. Should I pull the picture up?
Pull the picture up.
This is not going to be tech.
With not being it off. Mm-hmm. And then once you got going, you were more motivated. Yes. And it just proves that that's one example of not waiting around to motivation to do something. It's a feeling that comes with the action. And that's what we were talking about is, there are other gurus out there, and I've actually I'm piggybacking off of some of them, but I feel like they were speaking directly to me when they were talking about this, that motivation is a feeling. And oftentimes clients will come to me and they say they have a lack of motivation. And that's like one of the big challenges. Yeah. And so after we start working together, it's about reframing when motivation is going to happen. And if people wait around for motivation to kick in, things most likely will never change. And so there's this idea that we're supposed to be motivated to do something, whereas I think that is not the first requirement. Action is the first requirement. You have to take some kind of action, even if you're not that motivated, even if you don't really want to do it, even if you're not like sure, or there's fear, or there's all these other emotions. If you take action, that feeling of motivation will come. Yeah. And then once you get a little bit of that motivation, then that motivation layers on top of each other because now you've taken the action. And it's just kind of this loop, like action, motivation, action, motivation, action, motivation.
Yeah. We took it a step further too.
We did.
And we talked about how when you are consistent with that action, even when you don't want to do it, even when you'd rather walk down and get a mimosa and not go on the hike, but you still go on the hike, that consistent action, that dedication, that's what cultivates learning. That's what cultivates strength. That's what cultivates a shift or a change.
Yeah.
And I think that goes, we're talking about it in the context of physical fitness because all of us have been in that state, right? Where we're like, I should go for a hike, but I don't want to. If I was motivated, I would. But I think this also goes into, expanding your leadership skills, expanding your knowledge base or your expertise in a specific area and going, oh yeah, if I was motivated, I'd go back to school for that. Or if I was motivated, I'd go take that certification course. This is not a problem I have because I'm such an avid learner and it's kind of an obsession to limit the amount of things I take on. But I think it's similar, right? You have these folks that are like, well, I know I need to improve in this area. I'm just not motivated to do that. And they're waiting for the motivation to take action when it's actually the action that helps motivate. And the first time you do something, it can be scary, right? And so there's a lack of motivation. There's a fear there. And I think that fear can sometimes inhibit you from feeling motivated to go do the thing because we're worried about failure or we're worried that it's not going to go well or we're worried we can't keep up. Like, I think that was part of, I wanted to go move. But doing a power yoga class with my fitness coach, who I admire and look up to, and am slightly scared of when she's leading my workout. Not really scared.
I'm not that scary.
She's not, but she does. She pushes me. She pushes me in a way that sometimes I don't push myself. And that's what I was more afraid of. I was like, I'm going to go hiking with Ariel. Like, I don't know if I'm going to make it. But then I did. We made it.
Yeah.
We were together the whole time. It wasn't hard.
No.
And it totally increase that motivation. And then once you do the thing, I think also, number one, when you do it the first time, it's okay to fail. You're not going to be perfect at it. I suck at things.
action doesn't exist.
It doesn't. But
I
then
had to learn that the hard way.
Kind of that constant, it's a snowball effect, right?
Yeah.
Where you can, you have that little bit of, you take the action, you have a little bit of motivation, you keep taking that action, you get better at the thing that you're doing, which also increases confidence and motivation.
Yeah.
And it snowballs into kind of creating these habits. And then all of a sudden it's something that's fun, something that you enjoy versus, oh, I should go do that, or I need to go do that. I have another thing to say on this topic.
Yeah.
So we were talking yesterday about tricking your brain and how there's ways to kind of trick your brain. So I know that getting out and going for a hike, I don't mean to, but I will make excuses for why I'm not going to go do that. I don't have the time, or I don't have the right shoes, or I don't have this, or I don't have that. When really I just need to go take the action. And so if I can pinpoint the one action that I can take that will help me get onto the hike, that's oftentimes the action that I need to focus on. It's not the action of the hike. It's the action of I'm putting my shoes on. It's
and it's like summertime. So it's also, what kind of shoes do you put on? Are you putting on your sandals, or are you putting on your sneakers? If you put on the sneakers, you're already there.
You're already there.
Like, I got the sneakers on, I guess I could do it.
Yeah. Or I tell myself, I'll do, like you did this actually. You said, we're going to set a timer so that we can get back for our LinkedIn Live. And so she set her timer and we had a little bit of extra time. So instead of turning around at that, I think we did 20 minutes up, 20 minutes back, or 30 minutes up, 30 minutes back. But by the time your alarm went off, both of us were like, let's go a little further.
A little further.
Let's go a little further. It's that motivation that kicks in. Yeah.
Well, amazing. I'm glad you felt that.
I did.
Yeah,
I did. And I feel that's the other thing that I think is interesting, that at the very beginning of the hike, if we're having connectivity issues,
we might be.
It says that we're okay.
Well, it says it. I guess we are. Steven, how are we doing? Can you see us? Maybe he'll comment.
Bring it in.
Some people will.
I think the energy level thing is also something that's really interesting to me as I'm getting back into physical fitness. And that first 5 minutes of that hike, I was like, should I have brought my inhaler? And then after the 5 minutes, that energy level went up and up and up and up. And it allowed me to kind of, I had that increased energy. Same thing when we got back.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, I have energy now. I don't feel as tired as I did when we went for the hike, or even on the first 5 minutes of the hike. I think it's a funny thing to think like, oh, I'm going to go work out and I'm going to have more energy after that workout. But it's such a thing. I'm noticing it so much. Like, I feel so much more awake and present now than I did before we went on the hike. I was like tired, and
we both woke up kind of groggy.
Yeah.
Really interesting.
It is interesting.
What
else do you want to talk about today? We had a couple myths that we were that's how we got on that topic of motivation, and the myth that it requires action requires motivation.
Yeah.
When really it's the motivation is almost once you have momentum. And so you take the action, the momentum is what kind of like cultivates that motivation. And then the consistency of it. That was the other thing for me, is last week I did really good getting all my workouts in.
Yeah.
This week, because of the holiday and because kids were out of school, again, I have some excuses here. But because of that, I felt like I kind of got knocked off of my momentum train, and I needed that kind of momentum and motivation from you. No, we're going to do this hike. It's not going to, we're going to do it. We're going to make it. We're going to do it. And I was like, okay, we're going to do it. And I think that's, sometimes you need that. Sometimes you need, maybe the action isn't going for a hike. Maybe the action is calling up a friend and saying, I don't really want to go for a hike.
Yeah. Commiserating.
But I need to go for a hike, and I know I'm going to feel better afterwards. You want to go with me? And that kind of going with someone else, you're talking to that other person. You're not really realizing you're working out as much. I don't know.
Or you go take a yoga class or whatever. But again, that's the actions first. It wasn't the motivation. It was like, I should do this thing. I'm not feeling that motivated. What can I do to make sure this thing happens? And then you take the action, and then the motivation is like, oh, well, yeah,
There
I
it
guess I'm
is.
motivated now. And no, let's do this again. Oh, let's make this a weekly thing.
Yeah.
You know.
I have another thought on this.
Mm.
Gratitude is a big thing in my world.
Yes.
And I love if I can identify, I did this with your workout because so one of the things that Ariel will do if you're working with her as a coach, and I think there's like, if you have so many sessions per month, she'll do like a live workout with you. It's virtual, but then she records it. So you can go back and do the workout again, and you can kind of see your improvement over time as you're doing that workout, which is really cool. However, it's an hour-long workout. And this girl's like a 28-minute workouter, maybe 30-minute workouter right now. It's like my level right now.
Yeah.
And so it's hard. It's a hard hour-long workout, and it's really good. It goes like you get your heart rate up, and then it kind of goes down. You have like there's stretching and there's strength and there's cardio, and she kind of puts it all together. But I've been able to identify certain moves that I really enjoy, that I really love. The fact.
Okay.
And so my abs, my lower abs, it's really hard. I think I don't know, Stephen, tell us if you have this experience as well. I feel like as women, this is like a common thing I've talked to women about is like those lower abs, especially after having kids. It's hard to engage them, let alone feel sore in that area. It's hard to work them enough to get that sore feeling. Mm-hmm. And the ab portion of that workout, I feel it. And so it's like this really good feeling where I'm like, nothing else that I do gets the lower abs like that in the same way. Same thing for your hike. You know, if you have a hike or you have a walk that you go do, what is something that you love about that hike or that walk? Or is there a certain view? Do you get avocados? Is there, like for me, that hike, if I lived in Ojai, I would be like, yeah, I'm going to go get some avocados. It's not a hike. It's just going to go get some avocados. Right. And so there's this, I think something happens when you can identify the things that you enjoy about an activity or a workout. Same thing, LinkedIn Lives. I'll use this as an example. LinkedIn Lives kind of scare the crap out of me. So thank you for being here, Stephen. And at the same time, I know that doing them is good. And I have all of these reasons to believe that it's building this community is important. And I think people need it. I think people need a reminder to kind of take in where they are right now and what they need, and just like a quick gauge of where are you at. And then if we can share helpful tips along the way and help people kind of get through their challenges as well when it comes to fitness and health and kind of your holistic well-being. I think both of us really approach our work from that holistic standpoint.
How does this, what we're talking about now, apply to your coaching and like your clients?
The holistic?
No, just like specifically, you know, you spoke about that one client, one person you spoke to, like, how does that translate into leadership teams and business growth?
Yeah. Oh gosh, so many things I have to say.
Because I'm sure people come to you saying they're not motivated.
Oh yeah. I mean, I think a lot of the people that I work with are highly motivated from a work perspective.
Sure.
But they are either burning the candle at both ends. And so they're experiencing, it's hard for them. And I'll speak for myself as well. This is oftentimes why I think these people are drawn to me, is because it's hard for me I like the accomplishment feeling from work. Oh, something happened.
I don't know what I did.
I
don't know. I'm trying to type in the comment.
To reload.
Uh-oh. No, I think we're good.
We're not on our typical Wi-Fi, so bear with us.
No, and also I'm trying to type
at the same time
while she's talking.
Okay, so
anyway.
Yeah, I think two different ways that this comes up. The first is taking care of themselves. So I have one client in particular, we've talked about this quite a few times, around taking breaks and how she feels like when she takes her breaks, she could be getting work done. And we talked about it in terms of being able to, yes, we talk about it in terms of being, I can't believe you told everybody that.
I did.
Was
I not supposed to say that?
No, I love it. We talked about it in terms of how when she takes her breaks, she's quicker, she's more focused, when she comes back to work, she's more efficient and effective at what she's doing. And so she started seeing this shift, but being motivated. One more thing. And then she wouldn't take her breaks. And I totally get this because I still do it from time to time. There's these moments where I have to be conscious and intentional and go, you know what? This can wait. I'm going to take a 5-minute break, or I'm going to take a 10-minute break, or I'm going to take a lunch break and not eat my food while I'm working, but really take that break. It doesn't mean I have to slow down. I might go for a walk on my break. I might be moving. I might be listening to a podcast, but I'm switching the context in which my brain is working. Totally. And it allows for me to come back in a kind of, I don't want to say rested, but like in a new way. I can approach, and usually I can solve problems better. So that's one thing that I see a lot in people. They're like, no, I don't really take my breaks. I'm like, no, but you will be better at what you do, and you will enjoy it more if you take your breaks. On the other side, for motivation, I think it comes back to what we were talking about before around the fear. A lot of the people I work with are very ambitious. They're very motivated from a work perspective. But if there's something new, something new that they're having to take on, one of my clients was working on org design, and she was like, how do I include everyone on the team? I want everyone to be included, but they can't make all of the decisions. I need to have some idea of what I'm doing. Yeah. But how do I structure this team? How do I even begin that conversation? And it has been something that she's been wanting to start, but hasn't taken action yet because she's waiting for this like very clear path forward. And it wasn't until we sat down and kind of looked at, what do you want the outcome to be? How do you want this to feel for people? What does that look like? And then could you potentially ask some of these questions in your one-on-ones? Could you ask folks, hey, if we were to start to make some shifts and some changes as we continue to grow to the org, how do you want to be involved in something like that? I would love to get your input as a valuable member of our team. I didn't even think of asking someone that. And so I think oftentimes we're moving at a quick pace. This goes back to that analogy of putting cruise control on, so that it's not that you're not driving anymore. I'm not talking about like self-driving capabilities. I'm just talking about cruise control. So like you put the cruise control on, you can't close your eyes and take a nap. You still need to be present. You still need to look at everything, but you might be able to look a little bit longer at the view, or you might be able to look in your rearview mirror to see what's going on behind you, because
gives you a different perspective.
And I think it's oftentimes when people aren't taking action, if there's a fear there, it's because they just need a little bit more clarity. So if you can pause and look at the situation and go, this is the outcome I want. These are maybe some of my concerns. What ways can I approach this so that I can reach that outcome? Yeah. And then you get the clarity, and then it's about taking the action. And it's not going to be perfect. I think that's the other reminder is that
you just have to start, right? Well, there's so much crossover there, because what I'm hearing too is that what's really common is like motivations getting all wound up with a state of overwhelm, and like, where do I start? Right. And then once you're able to pinpoint where you need to start, that kind of helps create an action plan. And then once you start doing those actions, then again, that's when the motivation comes.
Yeah. That momentum starts building.
Yeah. That's really interesting.
Yeah. So I got to speak to this real quick. Ariel mentioned this, and Stephen, this tip is directly for you if it's helpful. You're going to be great on Raquel's Live. I'm super excited to see that. So make sure and send over the link. One thing that scares is getting crap out of me and speaking. All the time. I do it for work. I do it for play. I love singing karaoke. I love singing in general. I'm not great at it, but I love it. And there's something that's really cleansing about it. I can kind of process anything that I'm going through, just like sing a song, right? Like I'm still very much that emo kid in my like 2000 Jetta. I can like remember back and like having something that's going on, and I would just turn up a certain song or whatever and I'll sing to it. But what I've noticed is what happens in karaoke is I sign up for something and then they call my name and I'm like, nope, I don't want to do it anymore. Nope, this doesn't sound fun to me. and I have to manage the anxiety. And I don't actually drink typically. We were talking about this. It's not, so I don't have the liquid courage.
Liquid.
I don't have the liquid courage. And so I get really nervous, and I've started to kind of work through that. And now when I have some sort of the LinkedIn lives or anything where I get a little bit nervous beforehand, I'm like, well, at least I don't have to sing in front of these folks. And it just makes it so much easier. I will someday.
It doesn't have to be
LinkedIn
today.
Live karaoke and we'll bring people in and have everyone like, I think that's a great idea.
I don't know about that.
You don't want to sing?
Not particularly.
I feel like you're actually probably a good singer.
Well, I shared with you that in my dancing performer days as an aspiring Broadway dancer, I had to learn how to sing, and I was terrified. And my voice teacher said I had a good voice, and but I just didn't love it as much as I do the dancing. Like, dancing is how I express myself. Everybody has that thing that they love that allows them to express whatever it is. And for me, that's dance. And I auditions pretty regularly, and then I would have to sing, and it was just so terrifying. I think most of them I threw up beforehand, before I went in the room, and it was awful. But I feel like I'm older and wiser now, and I feel like I could give two shits about. Can we swear on here?
Yeah.
I think so. I mean, it's not that bad.
We're good.
But I care so much less about what people think of me that I feel like now I could probably sing a song in front of people and not vomit, but it's not my first choice.
I definitely get nauseous. But I get nauseous before. So I shared this with you. I had a presentation for DoorDash. I worked with DoorDash.
Yes.
And I knew the information like the back of my hand. I was talking about something that I had built before, and there was no reason for me to be nervous. But my physical body was like, you're about to jump off a cliff. And so it was that process for me of, I actually, right before I got on the webinar to give the speech, I turned on Don't Stop Me Now by Queen, which I shared with you as one of my karaoke songs.
Yeah.
And I belted that out in my little 8x10 office shed all by myself.
Wow.
Every once in a while I do that, and I'll hear the neighbors and they'll be like, yeah, good job, get it.
I bet I haven't heard her sing.
Well,
yeah. I think I'm going to make her sing.
We're here for another day. There's time.
Like, sing me a song. Just go. But I have a feeling she's a really good singer.
I don't know. We'll report back next week.
I'll give everyone the report.
Don't go to her karaoke's or go to her karaoke set. No, but it was a great way for me to release some of that energy. I think a workout is a really good way to do that as well.
Like, anxiety, I think, is whatever that is for you.
Yeah.
So, Stephen, what's that for you?
Yeah.
We want to know. Do you sing? Do you dance? Do you jump up and down? What do you do? We want to know.
Breathe. Do you stand in the sun?
Mm-hmm.
Getting my feet in dirt is really grounding. But another thing that you can do, especially if you're standing up and speaking, obviously I'm sitting down right now. You can do it while you're sitting too. I have done it while I'm sitting, but especially when you're standing, if you're anxious, you can rock from your toes to your heels. And you can do this before, like, I could stand up and do this before I sit down for a meeting or for a live conversation, but it's a really good way to create ground. Going outside. Yes, absolutely. Absorbing nature. The rocking between your toes and your feet. First of all, it takes a little bit of conscious effort because you're on your toes and then you're on your heels and then you're on your toes, but there's also a sense of grounding with it that's really helpful. But it enacts, I think the science behind it is it enacts a part of your brain where you're no longer kind of focused on the emotion that you're feeling. You're focused on kind of this process of toe, heel, and it kind of helps alleviate some of the physical, emotional response that can happen when you're anxious about something.
That's a good one.
Yeah. I love going outside and absorbing nature. I totally agree. Taking deep breaths in when you're outside and you can like smell the plants.
We really need nature.
We need it. That's what you said this morning when I was like, why don't we just walk downtown Ojai? And you were like, nope, we got to get on a mountain.
Gotta get away from people for a second. Let's go look at the trees. And
I think
the mountains over here that are just amazing.
They are. My other fear was the snakes. That was my other legitimate fear.
They are out and about, the rattlesnakes over here in California. We're fine.
We saw a bunny.
Yes, nice. Saw a bunny. What else? That was the main event. And the avocados.
Yes. That's actually another, this like just reminded me, we were up at the top of the hill and we were looking at all of the, the beautiful view, and there's so many different colors on the mountainside and different like textures in the landscape that you can kind of look out on. Another really good way to ground yourself before walking into something where you're anxious or you're stressed, or maybe you've been ruminating about it and you've been up all night thinking about this meeting or this conversation that you have to have. I have a lot of clients right now that just went through annual review cycles because they're ending their kind of calendar year at the end of June. And so July, they've been having all of these. I actually have a conversation next week, a workshop next week on like how to have a productive review conversation.
Ooh, that's a good one.
It's a good one. And because reviews are like a bad word, feedback seems like a bad word sometimes. And it's like, there's actually a really great, like positive way that you can have reviews that can be really productive conversations. They don't need to feel icky. But I think I've been dealing with that with a lot of clients right now who are like, I got to give this feedback and I'm nervous about giving it. So another tip I have is like just a quick 5 senses. I call it a meditation. You don't have to close your eyes. You don't have to sit in, in a certain way or anything like that. But I like to do it outside. Go outside, close your eyes, take a moment, just take a deep breath, and then find each one of your senses and find something. So what's the taste in your mouth? Maybe it's coffee from breakfast. For me, it's a little bit of Burmese food from leftover Burmese food from last night that I just ate before our LinkedIn Live. What do you see, right? So what's the visual that you see around you, and try and be really specific. So right now we're kind of out on this patio and I can see the lawn, the green of the lawn, and the white lawn chairs against the green. What do you hear? So what sounds are in your space? What do you smell? And then what can you touch? So right now I really want to go touch that palm tree because it feels like the texture of it would be really interesting.
Yeah.
But you can also just use your hands and like rub your hands together and feel the heat that you generate. And that 5 sense check-in is a really good way to ground yourself and kind of alleviate some of those emotions.
Really good. I've never heard that before.
Yeah, it's a good one. That's a good one. Good grounding one. And especially nice to do outside. Again, something you could do at the top of the mountain when you're like, yes, I made it. I made it on this hike that I didn't want to go on, that I made so many excuses to not go on. And I still made it. And so then you're up at the top and it's like, ooh, like I smell this and I see this and I feel this. There's a breeze and I can hear the water running. There was water up there, like running water up there, which was pretty cool.
Well, before you go on, it reminds me of a question.
Yes.
That I want to throw out there to everybody. Do you have someone in your life, a friend or a mentor or someone who can like pull you out of that lack of motivational state and like push you to do the thing in a nice way? Like I wasn't mean about it, right?
No, you definitely weren't. She was very kind.
Yeah.
She just, if anything, it was like a gentle hand that was like, here we go. We're going to go this way. And I was like,
and it was literally, I was like, it's really not far. The trailhead is like a 5-minute drive up the road. It'll be super quick. We don't even have to go that long. Like, let's just try it out. That was my approach. So do you have anyone in your life who kind of does that for you, kind of pulls you up, is like, no, let's just do this together. Like, let me help you. Cause I'm curious. Cause sometimes we need somebody to do that. Oh, good.
There were so many moments where I didn't idea of what I was doing, and I could see the outcome that I wanted. I could see the business I wanted to cultivate.
Yeah.
But I just didn't know all of the steps I needed to take to get there. And it felt, I was nervous about it because I knew very well, it was very obvious to me that I didn't know what I was doing when I first started out. And so reaching out and meeting people and finding people who were helpers, who were knowledge sharers, who were also motivated, right? I could borrow their momentum. And that's actually, there's,
Ooh, I love that.
It's not mine. I got to give credit where credit is due. And I'm so bad at remembering names. Jonathan Bissell is an amazing executive coach. I'm going to have to tag him in this because I don't think he's here today. I think he's off this week. But he's an amazing executive coach. And I got that from him. It's not, he had said something at one point and I said, oh, can I steal this? And he goes, you're not stealing it. You're borrowing momentum. And I just loved that.
I love
so like,
that.
how do you, whether it's for your
find those people,
right? Whether it's for your health, your well-being, your mental, emotional state, whatever it is, or it's around leadership or building your own business or reaching the next, role that you want to be in, position that you want to be in the workplace that you're in, or maybe switching jobs, right?
Yeah.
Like moving into a different role in a different kind of department or at a different company. Who are those mentors and those people that you can reach out to, that you look up to, that you can borrow momentum from? And I think that's such a good.
I think we do that for each other. I think that's definitely
in all
one
aspects.
of the reasons why we work so well together.
Yeah.
Is at any given moment, good or bad, and we're knowledge sharers. And it's like when we first started talking and we were just getting to know each other, it was like, oh, just FYI, this is kind of the way I approach things and the way I say things. So feel free to veto and speak your mind if you don't like something. And we did that for each other.
Yeah.
And I think, borrowing momentum is, you can still help each other and support each other in a way that's not competitive or combative, which it's been difficult for me to find people like that.
I feel like I've been really lucky in work with that.
I have not. So
welcome.
Thank you.
Yes. No, I do though. I think that and I really liked what you said about that. I think that's something that's really important to me, is being able to, in order to have a really productive ideation session, if you're like, this is the challenge that I'm struggling with, whether it's personal or professional or somewhere in between, if this is the challenge I'm dealing with right now, I'm not you, right? And so I'm going to ask some questions to better understand the challenge.
Yeah.
But then I'm going to start throwing out some ideas of how I might approach it. And I think one thing that we did really well early on was, I have some ideas. Can I throw those out? If something doesn't stick or it doesn't feel right for you, trash it. There's no ego around the ideas or the knowledge share. And I think that is what's so helpful, because then you get all of these different perspectives or these different ideas. And then all of a sudden, even if you don't find the specific answer, there's been moments where, I know you've done this for me, where I've had a challenge and you're like, what about this? And I'm like, no, that doesn't quite fit. And it's like, what about this? And I'm like, oh, I don't know. And I'm like, what about this? And you're like, well, I wouldn't do it that way because of this. And I'm like, oh yeah, okay. And then even if we don't come to like an actual moving forward with, but I'm that process of ideation, that energy that we're able to cultivate in the same room, I might add, allows me to then have some of that motivation, that momentum. And oftentimes I can take a break, have a context switch, and then come back to the problem.
Yeah.
And that momentum from the ideation session, I'm like, oh, this is how I'm going to do it. This is what I'm going to do. And then I can go back to you and it's like, oh, this is how I ended up handling it. Oh, great idea. And it's like a combination of all the things we talked about, you know? But yeah, I don't know, Stephen, do you have someone that you go to when you need that additional motivation, or when you need that momentum, that you can, like, people that you can borrow momentum from, whether it's a professional or a personal standpoint?
And it could be somebody you know or don't know.
Yeah.
It could be, like a Tony Robbins type.
Totally.
I'm into Mel Robbins. I like her. Shout out to Mel Robbins. She doesn't know who I am.
We'll add her on this afterwards.
She's too busy for us.
Well, maybe her assistant will look at it and be like, oh,
maybe.
They're cute. We're coming up.
I think so. But I think what we wanted to share with people is that we're going to start to bring it, like, part of this is going to be debunking myths. On my end, I'll be talking about the fitness and nutrition myths that most people believe or hear about. And
last time we talked about macadamia nuts.
Last week was macadamia nuts. So we're going to ruminate on some of those topics, but we'll start bringing that in next week. And then Kiki is going to talk about
some leadership myths.
Yeah. So if you have myths our perspectives on, please let us know. But hopefully related to what we do, because that's how we can really help. But yeah, it's important to question some of these things. You know, you don't have to believe everything you hear. No, it's important not to. But
gotta do your own research.
But I think that's what we wanted to share with people. That's our next development in this whole thing, is that we're going to be exploring myths and also what you can do about it.
Yeah.
Because that helps shift mindset, and that helps you grow, and it helps you succeed. So
I thought of a really good leadership one. So I'm going to kick us off with a leadership myth.
Do it.
I have a client who we were talking about a role that she wants to move into. So right now she's like a marketing director kind of level role, and she wants to move. It's a C-level role that she would be moving into. And there was some trepidation about that. And one of the things, it's so funny. I feel like this happens in coaching all the time. It happens with you and I too, where I'll say something and you're like, whoa, 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 whoa. What'd you just say? And then I'm like, oh, I did. Oh, I don't actually believe that. Or, oh, let's like dig into that a little bit further. So that was one of those moments. And she said, well, I'm not really an extrovert. I'm not really an extrovert. And so I don't know if I can move into this role.
That's interesting.
And I was like, wait a minute, hold up. And she just kept going. And I was like, no. I'm going to go back to the beginning of what you just said. You are not an extrovert. What does that have to do with this leadership role? And she said, well, it's a more visible role. She had all of these like things that she had put in her head of like, well, it's a more visible role. I'm going to have more visibility from the rest of the company and outside of the company. Felt like if she really an extrovert, that was going to hold her back and she wouldn't be able to show up the way that she needed to show up. And so we talked a little bit about, well, how do you want to show up in that role? What does that look like for you? Right. And we talked about some of the other leaders that she admires who maybe show up and you might think, wow, they seem outgoing, but really that's a stretch for them. It's something that they've had to learn. It's something that they've had to do. And we can all expand.
Yeah.
And so it was just, I think, a moment of clarity for her where she had been labeling herself as an introvert and therefore could not be in this C-level role.
That's really interesting.
Yeah, I thought it was really interesting. And I think, and people have said that to me before, I'm actually an outgoing introvert, not an extrovert, but I show up kind of extroverted. And so people will say, well, you're a really great leader because you're an extrovert, but I'm not. And it takes a lot of energy for me to be extroverted.
Yeah.
But I find so much value in it. And I think a lot of it came from having a lot of social anxiety for a really long time. And so I was just bigger than life because it was my way of calming myself down.
Mm-hmm. Compensating.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But no, you don't need to be an extrovert to be a leader.
I love that.
That's such a good one.
That is a good one. Can I piggyback off that? Because
please.
What I thought of when you said that too, and this kind of relates to what I do with people, is a lot of people, in addition to feeling like they have to be that extrovert, also feel like they have to sacrifice themselves in all ways. And then what happens is they don't take care of themselves, and food, exercise, all goes downhill, and then they're burning the candles at both ends. And we talked about it goes into burnout. And so I'm like on a mission, one, to prove to myself that I don't have to do that to be successful, because I think there's another way.
Yeah.
And that is one of my main things these days when I coach people in teams is that, you don't have to sacrifice yourself, your health, because that only leads down a very bad path.
Yeah.
That there's another way. So I like that. There's another way. There's another way. There's another way to think about, reaching different levels, and no, you don't need to be an extrovert, and no, you don't need to sacrifice yourself.
Yeah. It goes back to like taking the breaks, right?
Yeah.
Like that concept. You're so good at that, I feel like, with corporate teams, being able to help people see how they can take care of themselves. And then they start to feel like, you've done this for me as well, where now that I'm integrating these different things, right? And they're small shifts. They're not massive shifts. I'm not going out and doing these crazy workouts from not working out at all, because I was fairly sedentary. I mean, I have kids, so I'm active because of that, but I wasn't working out very often.
Yeah.
And then I went into working out 4 times a week, which when we initially talked, I was like, that feels like a lot, but I think it's doable. I think I can do it. But as I've integrated it, I've noticed, I feel like time has expanded. I feel like now when I go into my office and it's time to work, I'm so focused. And coming from someone who has ADHD, that's incredible.
That is.
To be able to be, and there's a shortage of ADHD medicine out there, so I'm not on anything.
Yeah.
Of that, where I can get into a different headspace, take care of myself in a different way. And then when I come back to use my brain in that workspace, I've taken care of myself. And usually what happens is I do the workout and then I crave a salad, or I crave a smoothie, or I crave something that's fulfilling and nutritious and healthy, versus if I'm just taking a 2-minute break to run inside and grab something to eat.
Yeah.
It's going to be all my snacky snacks.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a whole other topic entirely.
It is. We'll talk about snacky snacks.
But yeah, I mean, I feel like we could just talk forever.
Yeah.
Do
Absolutely.
typically.
We do. Nicole, it's nice to see you.
Yeah. We're talking about some myths that we're debunking. We started with motivation. So go back and watch the replay.
Yeah.
But we got motivation that we debunked. We debunked having to be an extrovert
in order to be a leader.
And
a good leader.
We debunked having to sacrifice yourself to succeed.
Mm-hmm.
Those are the 3 myths. We were only going to talk about 1, but we talked about 3. But I think moving forward, we're going to pick 1 each time.
And we'll share it at the end.
So if you guys have myths that you want to be debunked, then please comment and let us know. And you might see us talk about that in the coming weeks. Also, we want to share that we are going to start bringing on some guests. Some experts. So if you would like to be one of those experts,
hit me up. I have a form for you to fill out. We'd love to have you on our list. I think that being able to bring in other experts in the wellness space, even folks that do something similar to what we do, competition, and how there's like a scarcity mindset around that. And yet there's such better solutions that are created, or holistic solutions that are created. More perspectives are given when you have a diverse group of people that may all be experts in similar topics. So we actually have a few people on that list already who want to come in and be interviewed. So if you're interested, if you don't have to be in the wellness space necessarily, but the majority of what we're talking about is in this wellness space. So even if you are a leader who's maybe burned out before, and maybe you have some challenges and you want to get in the hot seat a little bit and have some one-on-one coaching with us, or 2-on-1 coaching, let us know. We'd love to have you here. So you don't need to be an expert in the wellness space, but we'd love to start bringing on some guests. And I mean, obviously, we could talk to each other all day long. We oftentimes do. But we'd love to bring some other folks in here too, and get some different opinions and different challenges and different experiences, and just kind of venture down some different rabbit holes. So if you're interested, or if you know of someone that you'd like to have, see an interview for, let me know. I'd be happy to reach out to them. And thank you so much for showing up today. Steven, we
Yeah.
got to give you props, man.
I know.
You helped us out with our
Thank
technical
you.
difficulties at the beginning. Amazing.
Yeah. We're really grateful. And then one more thing, we both have newsletters that we go deeper into these topics. So if you kind of want to hear what we have to say and what we're talking about and what we're working with our clients on, please join our email lists. You can go to my website, arielhoffman.com, and just plug in your info and you'll get the next newsletter. I might be talking about what we talked about today, but I have a couple things on the docket to share. And yeah,
mine is www. It's right at that.
Right there. She got the title today.
Thank you. That. I didn't even realize.
I know. I just saw it.
It's fantastic. You can also DM me. So message me anytime, and I'm always happy to get you on the list or answer any questions, or just chat. If you need a little bit of momentum, right? Like if you're out there, and I know we talked about the hounds today a little bit. Steven brought that up and how the hounds have been so helpful for gaining some momentum and motivation. We're here for that as well. So hit us up if you need a little bit of motivation, if you need a little bit of momentum and you need to borrow it from somewhere. We're happy to help with that. And remember, action. Action is what cultivates momentum and motivation, not the other way around.
Motivation is not first, people. No. Not the first thing.
Don't wait to be motivated.
Don't wait.
Just go take your action.
And then we are, as we mentioned at the beginning, we are here to strategize on some things that we have in the works. So just, again, stay in touch with us because we will be sharing soon what we're working on, and we want you to know, and we'll just share it with you once we're ready. We're still working on some details. But
yeah. And actually, that's where the debunking the myths came from,
yeah.
Right? One of our audience members from last time said, you know what I really want is, it was about the macadamia nuts. And he was like, I love it. It was Carrie Bunker. And he was like, I love macadamia nuts. And I've gone my whole life thinking I have to limit myself with macadamia nuts. And after last week's session, I'm going to go buy some macadamia nuts. I was like,
Carrie,
fantastic.
I hope you did that. I hope you're living off those macadamia nuts.
I do too. I did. I had my husband buy 2 bags so that we didn't run out.
Good.
Because my kids love them as well. Anyhow,
right.
Yeah, he had said that was great. That was the most valuable part of that LinkedIn live. Awesome. I want more of the debunking. I want more information.
Yeah, that's exactly how we got onto the whole myth thing.
Yeah. So as we create things, I know that that it would help you. Any changes that you're going through that you need support with, let us know, because that's how you create products and services. Is building it for the humans that need it. So let us know. Drop us a line.
Please do. And we are really excited to grow this community. So if you have friends that would like to join in and listen to us chat each week, please bring them on. And, that's...
borrow some momentum from us.
Yeah.
It all came together in this session.
Can we go to the pool now?
Yes, we're going to go to the pool now. The sun is out, as you can see.
I'm getting washed out by the sun. By the way, I'm going to leave you guys with this really funny story. So if you stuck around to the end, and this is funny.
This is dessert right here.
This is great. You're going to laugh. Okay, clearly I'm pretty white. I was part of my career as a dancer. I used to get fitness jobs. And one of my first fitness gigs is with the amazing Shaun T. If you don't know who he is, please look him up. He's incredible. He's amazing. He's got tons of workouts out there. He's one of my favorite people, one of my best friends, one of my mentors. Anyway, I did a few jobs with him, and we were filming the Insanity workout videos. So if you've heard of Insanity, I am in those. I am the redheaded Ariel. And it was really funny because we were filming in this gym, like this school gym. And, they place at you. And, these workouts were really intense. So I get some of my intensity from Shaun. Like he's who I tap into when I want to push people and I think they need to be pushed. It's like, Shaun T comes to me.
Thank you, Shaun T. I'm experiencing some of your magic through
he would love
Ariel.
That. He would love that. But anyway, so I was, and the director, we started, and it was one of those workouts that you have to, once you start, we were not stopping. It wasn't like a stop and go type of set. Like once we hit play, we were going because the workout was so hard, the cast couldn't do it again. So we started 5 minutes in, the director stops and goes, "Didn't we tell that girl she needs a tan?"
Oh no.
Because the sun was coming into the gym windows and I was getting totally washed out. And my friend Tanya was in the front. She turned back to me. She goes, "I'm sorry. I was supposed to tell you to get a tan."
No.
Anyway, so now whenever I do any
You
sort of
actually
filming,
look
I'm not tan right now.
Well, I think it makes
We
you
are
look
in the sun.
whiter than you actually are. 'Cause
Yeah.
I don't actually feel like you're that white.
Oh, thank you. I'll take
Like
that.
you don't look pale to me. You don't
Okay,
look pale.
that's good. I mean, whatever. I don't think I can really get to. But anyway, whenever I show up for camera things, I now get a fake tan. So
no one yells at you 5
yeah.
minutes in.
And I'm not afraid to admit it.
Oh, I love it.
Anyway, I hope you
love
enjoyed
it.
that story.
Fantastic. I love Nicole's response.
I know. Me too.
Nicole, I don't think we heard from you at the very beginning, but I do want to just have a brief little celebration moment for you. Do you have a celebration that you'd like us to, or a win from this week that you'd like us to help you celebrate?
I'll do a little shimmy while she
A little shimmy shake?
But she might have to DM us. I don't know.
She might.
Yeah. I feel like she'll respond.
So we will be here next week again. We have now learned that there are new links every week.
Oh.
Learn something new every time. So each week we will post on Thursdays the new link. We'll send out some invites. And if you ever can't find it, let us know. You can find it on the Thrive Mind Collaborative lives are there. And you can also see any of the new ones or the ones that we're currently doing as well.
Cool. All right.
All right.
Well, let's say bye, everyone.
Bye. Bye. We're going to go to the pool.
Going to the pool. Bye.
Take care, everyone.
Have a good weekend.
Have a great weekend. Bye.